Hey guys, alright, another video, just in case you're not totally sick of videos yet. I was asked a question about, uh, sorry, lost my train of thought as usual. I was asked by a student to go over something I had said about basically local corrections on an image. And I thought that this might be a good opportunity just for everyone to see, like, you know, sort of to get a look at how I would correct an image doing global and local corrections. Um, so, um, Usually, what people do when they're correcting an image is there's kind of a checklist. You do global, you do local, you go in and do sort of clone stamping or healing, stuff like that, to get rid of any little imperfections. If you need to do sharpening, that's usually something that you save to the very end. And just kind of remove color casts, do whatever. So I thought I would just briefly go over here. I'll probably won't show every single detail just because it could be extremely boring, but I'll kind of maybe do an edited version, hit the highlights. And on this, I'm actually going to start, with a local correction, just cause. Because the thing, so part of what she asked me to go over was just how would I locally correct this area. And sometimes, like, if a certain part is just kind of bugging me, I'll go in and just fix it, because then it won't be distracting me from other stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and pop open Curves layer. And I am going to set it, no, I'll leave that alone for now. But I will set this to luminosity. That way, as I'm working, it's just going to affect the exposure, and it's not going to touch the colors at all. So what I'll do is I'm just going to look here, and it needs to come down, so I'm going to usually start by pulling down the center. I'm just kind of ignoring everything except that area that I'm planning on correcting. It's very bright, so I'll probably pull down the highlights. Probably going to pull down the whole thing. This is also reducing contrast, as you can see. And I'm probably going to actually overdo it a little bit, because so say I decide to go with this. So what I'm actually going to do is make sure that the layer mask is selected, and I'm going to invert it. That's funny, I do it so often with hotkeys that I don't even remember where the thing is. So I'm just going to do it with the hotkeys, because that's how I normally do it. So hit Control or Command and I. And as you can see, that made the whole effect go away. If you look at the layer mask, it's totally black. Because we're doing a local selection, I'm actually going to come in and just apply the correction here. So I come over, I'm going to select my paintbrush tool, and because this is one of the biggest things that I use the paintbrush tool for, it's already kind of set there, but you want a fairly low opacity, around 20%. You want a soft edged brush, nothing hard, so we don't want to leave any distinct lines, and you want to make sure that white is the color that's selected on your foreground color. And as I paint here, you're going to start to see, if you watch this, that it's going to appear on there. Again, if I had this selected right there, I'm just painting on the image. But because I have this layer mask selected, I'm just using it to apply the effect to the area. And this might even be almost a little much. I might have to go in and just lower the opacity slightly. It's better to do more brush strokes on a lower opacity than to have something that looks terrible. And you can see, if you haven't been watching, where it was all black before, now there's a little bit in there. And basically I'm just going to keep going over and sort of blending in the effect, the layer mask. I'm just going to keep doing it. And again, it's not this, it's never going to match this. They're just two different lighting situations. What I'm trying to do is just make the contrast between the two of them less visible, less, I'm just trying to make them less distracting, basically. So let's take a look here. I'm just going to click off and on the visibility so we can see just what it looks like so far. So original, and there. So again, already a lot better. We're getting, I mean, the detail was there, it's just that it was getting really bright. Excuse me. So, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And now, I can always come back to that if I feel like I want to do it some more. But so, okay, we're adding that in. We have a super low opacity, we can also bump it up a little bit. And sort of, and that might be as much as we get out of there. You know, we just have to kind of be happy with what we can get. But again, let's look before and after. Pretty bright. It brought a lot of detail back in. Now again, we could do a global correction, but I think I'm actually going to open this up a little bit, this shadow, just to try and make it look closer to what's going on there. So I'm actually going to go pop out another curves layer. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Okay. And for this one, again, I always just start with the center and go from there. Alright, and you can see now the right side's starting to look better, but again, it's pushing this. If you see why I'm doing just local corrections rather than global, as I'm pushing this up, it's making that look too bright. Anyway, so Control I to invert that, get you out of the way, and then I'm just going to do the same thing, although probably increase my brush size, which you can do. Sorry, I didn't show you that, but it is the bracket keys on your keyboard, or you can also go up here, click, and you know, adjust the size, adjust the hardness. Anyway, so, and what I usually do here is I'm like clicking and holding it right now, just holding. I'm trying to get, you know, a more even look. And then when I let go, now I can come back in. Sorry, I come back in and do, you know, it's like rather than like a lot of clicking, I tend to do a lot of dragging and holding. Unless like a certain area really needs it, then I'll be like click. But in general, I try to avoid that just because, you know, it just makes everything look kind of spotty. So long brush strokes are good. So let's just do a before and after overall. So this is before any, and this is now. And again, it's not perfect, but it's also not such a big difference. It's less noticeable, more subtle. The next thing I'd probably do here is I'm seeing, I don't know, it's tough to say. I mean, because we have such mixed light here. Like, this looks fairly blue to me, but then, of course, I mean, this is, the letters are blue. So I might go in and just do another curves layer and sort of get rid of some of the blue, the partial blue cast. Yeah, let's do that. That sounds good to me. Alright. Yeah, see, already I think that looks... Again, this is something that we're going to want to apply selectively with our layer mask. This is kind of, it's definitely in the midtones, maybe a little bit in the shadows too. Yeah, see, and let's making our shadows get pretty yellow, so that's probably too much. But again, with these adjustment layers and masking it back in partially, you can go a little bit too far because you're probably not gonna hit it with the full opacity. I'm actually gonna. That's just a little bit too much for me. Okay. Yeah, I think we have to apply that again selectively because, yeah, you can see like this stuff is definitely not too blue, but this is. So, once again, I mean, this is how we do it. Oh boy, somebody's not happy around here. Oh boy. When little kids fight. Gotta love it. Alright. Those of you who are parents are probably smiling, and those of you who are not are going, why the hell does it just stop and go deal with that? Alright, so let's see what that looks like. Okay. Before, after, before, after. Oh, okay, hold on. Alright, so let's do a overall before and after, just to kind of gauge what we're looking at here. Come on, computer. Alright, so overall before and after, and before and after. So, you know, better and better. We're getting there. Yeah. I feel like, you know, with any image, you could probably go on and on all day. What else would I do here? There's probably some overall global corrections that we could do. Alright, so there's just one more thing I want to show you guys here. I'm actually gonna go back to this first curves there, and I think I'm going to take it down just a little bit more. I feel like we can probably get, if not more detail, then at least the appearance of more detail in there. Let's do compare. So this is before I just made that adjustment, and this is now. Yeah, I feel like that's probably helpful. So you guys want one more? I do end up doing this a lot. Okay. So, original image, corrected image, original image, and corrected image. So I feel like it's good. I mean, there's probably, you know, we can probably hit this a little bit more. We don't necessarily have to do this for the demonstration. But, you know, with, yeah, see, even that just helps a little bit. Oh, and see, now I did that, I kind of made the shadow there dark. If I click the, switch the foreground color, then I can actually come back in, and I'm just undoing where I went over the line a little bit there. And, yeah, you always kind of want to do stuff like that too. Alright, so, yeah, so as you get more and more advanced into Photoshop stuff, basically your layer palettes are just going to get bigger and bigger. And a lot of times, like if I get more than about 4 layer palettes, what I'll actually do is I'll go in and name them. Blue cast. That tells me that's getting rid of the color cast. Sometimes you can kind of tell by like the layer masks, but I just like to go in and name them. That's a good thing to keep them organized. Open shadow. Especially like, I mean, on some of these, like if you're retouching something, say it was going to go on a magazine cover, and you have freaking 30 of these layers, you really have to do that. Highlight. Let's do set high. Highlight doesn't quite fit there. The more of these that you have, the more important it is to label them. You know, I mean, I did a bunch of curves ones here. If we done like some color balance or whatever, I mean, I don't tend to do a lot of those. But if you do also do those, it'll make it easier because you'll be able to see what kind of adjustment layer it is. But yeah, that is just kind of a brief glimpse into what this looks like. I almost feel like I want to show you guys just like a super advanced, like kind of magazine cover one, what that looks like, because it's just like, I mean, rather than this, I mean, first of all, there's just stacks and stacks of these, and they're organized into like folders and stuff. But maybe at another time I'll do that. But okay, so that hopefully answers this student's question who asked me, and hopefully gives the rest of you guys something, sort of a glimpse into what you are starting to do, what you will soon be doing. Yeah, thanks for watching.